Hey there, YouTube. This is my review of the Savage Axis 223 Heavy Barrel Bolt Action Rifle. This is my first review I've ever made, so it's not going to be the best in the world, but we'll get through it real quick. I got a few points I want to touch on this gun. There's there's a lot of reviews out there on this weapon, but they never, you always see them shooting it. They don't tell you really about some of the other pros and cons. You just kind of hear about shooting it more or less. This gun is a little bit irregular from what I normally buy. I wanted to build a budget weapon that was a very good shooter. I normally screw around with Remington 700s. That's pretty much my arsenal of rifles is going to be a 700, and then you got this guy. Thought, well, hell, I'll try outside the box this time. This gun, took it out of the box, put scope on it, took it to the range, fell in love with it. Really good gun. Very, very impressed with it. My first day at the range, I mean, it took me a total of 3 or 4 minutes to sight this gun in. It's just so accurate and easy to sight in. And, you know, a lot of that falls down to the scope, too. The scope is the Bushnell Banner series. It's a 6x18x50. It's the Dusk to Dawn. It lets in a ton of light. If you're hunting in low light situations, or you hunt till, you know, dark, then, or early in the morning, it's a great gun. Or great scope. Very impressed with it. But the first day at the range, I zeroed the gun in, got it shooting great, and even surprised myself. This is my first 223 rifle, and everybody's told me about how they're not a long range gun. Well, everybody can tell you one thing, but until you actually do, it's another. My farthest shot right now with this weapon is going to be 400 yards. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was pegging, you know, nail heads at 400 yards. It wasn't, but it was very, very close. I was very, very impressed with it. At about 400 yards, I was having to aim about 16 inches high, and that was a very light wind. And eventually, I pulled a bullseye out of it. It took me about 5 shots to get a bullseye, just tracking it on up, getting it to the right point. 300 yards. We'll backtrack to that just a little bit. It was very, very close at 300 yards. It was within 3 inches. And I'm shooting a 55 grain. I was shooting these shells I bought at Walmart, just the Federal 55 grain F&Js, the 100 round count. I think they cost $40. Great for sighting a gun in. And that was within 3 inches of the bullseye. And this particular target I was shooting was 3/4 of an inch circled bullseye. And I finally pulled the bullseye at 300, so I stepped her on up to the 400. And it took me a few shots to get there, and I did. Very impressed with it. 200 yards down, 200 to the 0 yards, nail driver. I mean, 100% in the bullseye, every shot. I mean, this thing, between 100 and 200 yards, you could send 5 shots at both 100 and 200 and probably take a quarter. I know at the 100 you can, and the 150. At 200, I didn't check there, but at 150, you can take and put a quarter over all 5 shots if you can hold the weapon there long enough. That's the problem most people have, but if you can lock the weapon down and send 5 consecutive rounds down range, I could cover them with this gun with a quarter. And a lot of that falls down to it being a bull barrel. I'm very impressed with the gun. It's got its pros and cons. I'm not going to say here sugarcoat it. It's not God's gift to the gun world. You know, Savage built this gun as kind of a budget hunter type gun. This is a little bit over the budget hunter because it's a bull barrel. You know, it's not their cheapest model, but I did get a bull barrel, but I didn't get an AccuTrigger. I didn't order this gun like this. I walked into my local sporting goods store, and there it was. I seen it. I was like, gotta try it. I watched a lot of reviews on it before I bought it. Seen some good reviews, liked them. And it kind of swayed me into buying it. I thought about trying it. And another thing too, a lot of my friends have Ruger Americans or Remington 700s. And when I say this, they're all in 223. So I thought, well, I'll be the different guy, get a Savage Axis. Everybody, including the Ruger American guys, are impressed with how this gun shoots. It's, like I keep saying, it's a nail driver. It's just an all-around good gun. Like I said, it does have some cons, and we'll catch into that here in a minute. But first time I took it to the range, I was shooting it against basically the same gun, but the gun was not bull barrel. It is a Ruger American 223. I think they were the exact same lengths. He had a little bit different style scope than I did. His was built a little better for yardage than mine. And we kind of just shot against each other, and they was very close. The weapons, it was hard to tell a difference in between. One would shoot high for a minute, and the other would shoot low. Then you get another yardage, and they'd swap up. I mean, they just very neck and neck guns. People would sit there and tell you all day that, the Ruger American fires better than the Savage Axis. It's built better. Well, they are kind of built a little better, but the price tag can be a little steeper. So, right now I've got $368 in this gun. That's just the gun. That's not including the bipod. It does not come with the scope rails mount. It does not come with anything besides the gun itself. So, I've got 150 in the scope. It's not a hugely expensive scope. It's not a Nikon. But it is a decent addition of the Bushnell family. I am very proud of the scope. It shoots very good for being my budget creation here. The scope in this gun combined, I'm very confident with the combination of the two, because both of them come out the box, mounted together, and was doing work. The gun's cons, really, to me, the first one's going to be the stock. Well, let's back it up. Yeah, we're going to go with stock, because I've actually got two real big ones in my opinion. Right here in the stock, the gun is really weak. I'm not impressed with it right here, this whole little mount. It's not the greatest design in the world. This is the first gun I've ever had. If, say, you're holding it with your hip, you're holding it with your shooting hand, got it on your hip, you can feel the front half of the gun move separate from the back half. And when I say that, I mean in this motion. And I know there's going to be some people comment, oh, well, your gun, the barrel's loose. Nothing up here is loose. This is all tight. It's 100% tight. Nothing from here forward is moving. It's all back here. Savage did a good job on the front half of the weapon. I really like the front half. Feels good in your hand, holding the gun up, shooting it, free-handed, feels great. And then they kind of fell off back here. Right here, the trigger guard, this whole piece comes off. Take the bolt out, it comes off, exposes the triggers. And, I kind of understand some of the reasons why Savage did that, but in doing so, in my opinion, they made this a lot weaker. And I've seen pictures of these guns broken in half, from right here. They're always right here. It's just a little flaw Savage has. I'm going to change the stock out. I'm not leaving this gun like this, because I've varmint hunt quite a bit, and that's my luck. I need to be in the woods and break the gun in half. That would just ruin a good day of hunting. So I'm eventually going to change it out to Boyd's laminated stock. I guess we'll swap over to the next one. The other con is going to be this magazine. It works fine, does its job, but they built this with this little plastic lock up here and release, and it works. I mean, works fine. The only thing that I've had trouble with was this back. This little, you can barely see it. This little lock in the back. It doesn't move. It's mounted, it's metal. And the first time I pulled the gun out of the box, I was looking at it over, playing with it, and put it in there, pulled it out, and I heard something hit the floor and looked down at it. It was a whole back snap. It just broke right off. Well, luckily, Savage, I called the warranty department, and they didn't give me any grief about anything. They didn't ask a whole lot of questions. The main question was, what's my address, and will I send the other one back? Yes and yes. So they sent me this new one. It took them about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get it to me, and there was not a single problem I've had with it since. I took this to the range, fired several shots out of it, and everything's going fine with it. Another con to me, this may not be to you, but factory, this gun is supposed to be equipped with a 5.5 pound trigger. That's fine, it'll shoot, but I wanted a lighter trigger. All my Remington 700s, I'm shooting about a 2 pound trigger. I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, wow, 2 pounds, that's crazy light. That's just how I like my guns. I've always had them at that, so that's what I'm accustomed to. So I've knocked this one down to about a 3.5 pound. But even though the trigger pull was lighter, it had a lot of inconsistency in it still. So I took it apart and polished it. I need to step into more about how I lighten the trigger. I took 2 coils off the trigger spring in the back of the trigger. Didn't adjust the safety pin or anything like that. Just took 2 coils off the back. It makes the rifle easier to fire. Nothing crazy. You pick the gun up, smack it with the safety off, it's not going to go off. I've tested it. It's not going to go off when you don't want it to. And with the safety on, the gun's 100% safe. Of course, this weapon's been cleared also. Bags out, weapon's empty. But I polished it, did the trigger job on it. Of course, watched YouTube videos on how to do it. But I took it a little step farther. It was very jagged, so I sanded the outer parts of the trigger and got it smoother, polished it, buffed it out, got it looking good. Didn't want to see my sand marks. Made it a lot better in my opinion. But it still had a little inconsistency. There was like a weird let go snap to when the trigger was at, when you had the trigger about fully squeezed. So, and I'm taking this steps at a time. I'm not trying to just go crazy and polish the whole gun and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I took the bolt apart because I really want to see what it was made of. I want to see if there's anything in there I could help with that consistency of the snap just a little bit. And the firing pin in this bolt is as long as the bolt. It's huge. It's the biggest firing pin I think I've ever laid eyes on in a bolt action rifle. And so I took it out. I didn't sand it or anything, didn't modify it really in any way besides take the bluing off and polish it. When I say polish it, it's not sanding. It didn't take the size down anymore. It just took that bluing off and prettied up the metal like this. And it helps it with friction and gliding around in there. I haven't done this pin yet, but I haven't taken the gun to the range since I've done the firing pin polish. If I think it needs a little more, I think this pin's going to get polished next. I polished the whole bolt. You can see the bolt's a lot smoother. I took the Savage emblem off the bolt. Didn't like that. It's not my cup of tea personally, but everybody's different. Some of you are probably thinking I'm an idiot for taking them off, but this is just me. It's my gun. It's a really good gun. I would recommend the gun to anybody who didn't have the money to buy like a Remington or, pretty much Remington. And it's my budget build. I use the gun for going to the range and just varmint hunting really in all reality. And my thing too with varmint hunting, all my Remingtons are so nice. I really hate to beat them guns up. Varmint hunting, the style I hunt, it kind of, your gun gets dirty a lot, and dirt could get beat up more than a normal gun in my opinion. So kind of wanted a gun that I wouldn't be as worried about. Then don't take this as this is a shit gun in my opinion. That's not what I'm saying. Savage did a really good job with the bluing on this gun. It looks really good. It's just the stock I plan on doing, like I said, a Boyd's laminated wood stock. I've thought about doing a Timothy trigger. We're going to play around with this trigger a little bit more, and there'll be some more videos to come, especially of a range day with this trigger and this bolt job. Hopefully before long I'll have the whole gun coated, and we'll see what else we can get up on video. But maybe we can get a comparison video too with the Remington, or the like to get a comparison video with the Remington, the Savage, and the Ruger American. We have all those guns relatively available. Also, I forgot to mention when I was making the 400-yard shot, 300, 200, all that, I'm shooting a 55 grain bullet. I've stepped up to the Hornady VMAX in 223 for this gun for as far as hunting, actually meat. And these are just, I just picked them up, never have too many rounds. If it comes down to shooting an animal, it will consist of the VMAXs. They have sold me on them, just the first shot I ever placed in an animal. It was devastating. It did its job. It didn't go very far, and it wasn't that great of a shot that I made. The animal probably went 5 foot and fell dead. It put a hole in them. Very good round. I believe that's all I've got to touch base on with y'all. And y'all just subscribe, stick around for some more of my reviews. Hopefully the videos will get a little better. You know, I'm recording this off my phone right now, so maybe we can get a real camera and do a little better review. And hopefully there'll be a range day coming up with a comparison video and also the ending mods of this weapon. Thank you for watching.